Yeah, welcome back. Rashi, have you joined? Yes. Yes, Rashi. Can you repeat the proposal or the question that you were?
Yeah. So basically, I was just wondering why are external and internal not connected? Because I mean, when we eat food, whatever is absorbed by the cells, probably that is then getting into the elimination state, the internal cleansing. Like if you're having a lot of protein, so you have more uric acid, or I mean, these are all terminologies I'm using, which is not relevant here, but just to give a perspective, that you will see the elimination through kidneys of uric acid is higher if you are consuming something which has more of that type of component. So anything excess that we are consuming is also eliminated through kidneys. So I feel like this external and internal are connected at some level.
Yes, yes.
And how is the elimination happening when someone is on a water diet for maybe, 3 days? What type of elimination is expected from the body at that stage when there is nothing consumed?
Yes, yes, that's the key actually. So what happens if you look at this image, this is basically the red line. Let me just copy it. I'm not able to. Okay, I can. I think. Yes. So here you see in this particular image, what we are trying to propose is the body is circulated with the food. Through the digestive system. So number one is the digestive system. We eat food and then that gets absorbed as you are proposing. The nutritions from the food gets absorbed to the blood. So this red line, what you are seeing is the blood circulation within the body. Now that nutrition is carried to all the cells of the body. And from the cells, the toxins are carried to the blood back again, and then the blood gets purified through these three things: lungs, kidney, and this 5 is the peripheral skin, the outer skin, this 5. So these are the 3 filtering elements. And now this is the heart. Heart actually runs the circulation. So what you are meaning, so your first proposal is when the food, from the food we absorb the nutrition, that time, what kind of elimination that you are proposing here? How the blood gets purified in the digestive system?
So basically, I was just saying that when we say that external elimination is just digestion and removal of the excess waste that we generate, are the internal and external not linked together?
Everything is linked together.
Yeah, everything is
linked together for sure. But what we are trying to emphasize here is the function of every system. So digestive system has got a function which is collecting the food from outside and getting the nutrition absorbed. Now, in case of emergency, body will try to use any pores and every pores to expel the toxin, because everything is connected as you propose. And also Rohit proposed that aspect of getting the lungs bulgum to the digestive system and using it for the elimination of toxin. Elimination of the toxin means body generated toxin. So two things: body generated toxin is actually through the blood, and that gets eliminated through these 3 filters. These are the functional aspect of these 3 systems that we have.
Yeah.
Right. Now, definitely everything is connected to everything. And what we are trying to emphasize here is another confusion, that we start considering that the constipation is the cause of my disease. which is absolutely a superstition. Constipation comes much after then already the toxemia started in the body. So when we compromise all these three for long, that time the stool compromisation can happen. Reduction in the stool happens lot after we have compromised already breathing out, urination and sweating. So instead of focusing on these three, if we focus on correcting the stool through a lot of laxative or enema and all those stuff, then it is a symptomatic approach. That is what is the proposal.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, Meenu, you wanted to come in something?
Yeah, on Dr. Kaur, what she was asking, no, it was not Dr. Kaur, I think. It was something connected with fasting when we do water fasting. I don't know if that is already taken.
Rashi proposed, right? So we can discuss that, how the elimination happens. So elimination basically during the fasting, since there is no,
say
please.
One thing, sir, then you
Please,
can continue.
Please.
So I was saying that what is the purpose of doing this fasting? That is the question first. So just that and whatever you add.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. So just a second. Yeah. So what Meenu has proposed is what is the rationale of fasting. That's definitely a point that we'll be discussing in the afternoon in detail. But definitely there has to be a reason of fasting, not a ritual fasting that we propose. Number one. Number two, during the fasting. Yes, Dr. Kaur, you want to come in?
Okay. You can complete then.
Okay. So during the fasting, since there is no input, solid food, what happens is the vitality is completely dedicated in the physiological aspect of elimination, primarily. Because there is no input, now the elimination is strengthened. And that elimination is the toxin which are accumulated in the blood and accumulated in the cells of the body. Those are coming to the blood and getting eliminated through the breathing out, urination and sweating. That cannot come to the digestive tract and get clean. That has to go out through the breathing out, through the urination and through the sweating. Yes, Dr. Kaur.
You mentioned that when the breathing out, urination and sweating have been compromised, then after that, the passing of this excretion process gets affected.
Yes, constipation.
So, yes. So this excretion, is it a energy requiring mechanism, or is because it's almost a passive thing? Because it's a gravity thing, and moreover, whatever fiber and whatever we have consumed, which have not been absorbed, it is being excreted.
Amazing
so
question.
Does it require vitality, or
Yes.
how is it related?
Yes, so this actually takes us deeper, actually analyzing the food matters. If there is life in the food, if it is a natural food, then it has its own movement. Let's try and understand. It has own movement to become soil faster. So the stool and the passing of the stool is supported with the vitality already available in the food. If the vitality within the food doesn't add to our vitality, but definitely support our execution of vitality. So if we are in a habit of dead food, like the artificially manufactured food or modified food, cooked food, all those stuff, we mean the dead food, that time the vitality is actually needed to pass the stool. Otherwise, it is a responsive mechanism which doesn't require a lot of vitality. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And moreover, so when a body is in a state of dis-ease, that time it is trying its best for the breathing, urination, sweating.
Yes.
So that time intentionally it is also avoiding the excretion activity, maybe.
Not intentionally, programmatically.
Programmatically.
Programmatically constipation happens. Momentary constipation happens. Actually, that we need to support. If we want to overcome constipation during fever, that time we jeopardize the system, internal programmatic system, because pressure building up is connected with the temperature buildup, and it is supported. If we release the pressure, then temperature also reduced. We feel that fever is reduced, but the fever is a beautiful process that we are going to understand now to relieve us from the toxin. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for this clarifications. Right. So we were talking about two connected terminologies. One is the innervation, other is the toxemia. So let's read out. We have already conceptually we have covered this, but let's read out the definition, proposed definition. Innervation is a state of overengaged vitality beyond a limit. Overengaged vitality beyond a limit. Till that limit, body tries to adjust with it. Individual will not come to know. But if it goes beyond the limit, then toxin or waste elimination is reduced in the body. And waste elimination, when it is reduced, that means we retain the waste, retain the toxin. Then what happens? Toxemia. Let's read it out. Due to innervation, we just read it. Due to innervation, when the elimination of toxin is reduced in the body, the toxin is retained in the body. So elimination reduced, the simple mathematics. Elimination reduced means we are not eliminating the toxin. We are retaining the toxin. Retaining the toxin. It is a state of accumulated toxin in the body. It is a state of accumulated toxin within the body. This is called toxemia. So innervation leads to toxemia. Now here we need to understand, whenever innervation leads to toxemia, if we do not change the lifestyle pattern, if we do not change the lifestyle pattern, the kind of lifestyle that we were continuing, due to which the innervation happened and due to which the toxemia happened, then what happens? The toxemia attracts more energy. The toxin which is retained will attract energy, because anything that we possess attract energy. So it will attract energy, and that extra energy will come from the body itself, and that will lead further innervation or further depletion of energy. That means the toxemia will lead to innervation now, and innervation will lead to toxemia again, as we understood already. So it becomes a vicious cycle within. It's a trap that happens, and it goes on and on till the time we change the lifestyle. Otherwise, we have to lead ourselves to multiple suppressions. And what is that suppression? We are going to understand now. So multiple suppression to suppress the pain and discomforts, right? So now what happens? Programmatically, when we propose that the homeostasis is the objective, programmatic objective of all the organisms, then there must be some provision to come out of the state of toxemia. As there is a provision of indicating through the pleasure and pain whether we are depleting energy or conserving, there must be some provision within the organism to come out of this so-called stagnation of toxin and bring back the movement in life. What is that? How is that? Let's try and understand. Now here on the slide you see the cellular metabolism. Here on the slide you see cellular metabolism. Metabolism is a continuous process within the organism which do have two sub-processes. One is anabolism and other is catabolism. Anabolism is a process which actually builds up the tissues, builds up the cells, through which we get the nutrients within the cells through the blood. And catabolism is the process of breaking down, through which the waste matters within the cells are disposed of, eliminated to the blood bag. So blood is a carrier for the nutrients and the toxin both. Now what happens, as you see on this image, the upper side, upper half of the cell expresses about the anabolism, where you see the white arrows bring the nutrients within the cell. The circle is the cell. So within the cell, the nutrients come. And this comes through an absorption process which is called osmosis. This is called osmotic assimilation. So for which we do not spend a lot of energy. It is supported universally. The osmosis is a natural process of absorption through which the roots of the plants also get the water. It's not that the roots suck the water, it gets assimilated through the osmosis, through which we get that almonds, when we soak in the water, that almond gets swelled up and becomes softer through the osmosis. So that's the natural process. So through which we get the nutrients within the cell. Now, within the cell is a closed chamber. Cell is a closed chamber with a boundary. Now, when there is just coming in, there will be over accumulation within, and there is a programmatic process of sending some extra matter which is unnecessary now. So that is what is being shown in the bottom side, which is hydrostatic rejection or catabolic disposal of toxin. Now what happens? This particular aspect is cellular energy driven aspect, because the boundary based cells do have a hydrostatic pressure within, and that pressure is used for this rejection. It is internally driven. Osmosis was naturally driven, but here the hydrostatic rejection is internally driven. And in this internal driven, if we run out of the vitality, as we understood, that when we don't listen to the voice of the organism repeatedly, go for the stimulation and suppression repeatedly, that time we run out of the vitality, conserved vitality, and that leads to the reduction of the elimination, and that is what is this elimination. Elimination means
So-
yes, Shilpi.
So what's the difference between naturally driven and internally driven?
Yes, internally driven means the process is supported by your own energy only. It is not universally supported. As we were discussing about the live food and the dead food, when we consume live food, then the excretion is supported with the vitality available in the live food also. It has got its own natural movement.
Okay.
So osmosis is a natural process through which the input within the cell is supported universally. It
So that
depends.
happens only in the live food?
Yeah, live food, no. So osmosis is not basically live food or dead food concept here. Osmosis is the density based concept. Osmosis means there is a movement from lower dense to the higher dense through a permeable, SMP, this they call semi-permeable SPM, semi-permeable membrane. So what happens? So here, suppose this is this. Just a second. Yeah, this is suppose semi-permeable membrane, and outside the density is lesser and inside the density is more. So osmosis happens this way. The lower dense liquid will seep in to the higher dense side. This is the osmosis process. If time permits, then we'll explain separately what is osmosis process. But for now, try and understand the lower density goes to the side of the higher density through the membrane. This is called osmosis, and for that, this density difference creates a pressure difference and the movement happens.
So this two questions. One is, does the breaking of nutrients happen inside the cell?
Breaking of nutrients happen. Yes, yes, definitely. A lot of processing happens.
So the
within the cell.
anabolism includes all of that.
And no, breaking of nutrients is catabolism within the cells. So these are two types of anabolism. So let's talk in that terms also. When we consume food, that time we start disintegrating it. Any kind of disintegration happening within the body comes under the catabolic process. Any kind of disintegration, and any kind of reintegration process comes under the category of anabolism. So when this gets absorbed within the body, this comes under the category of anabolism, what is shown in the image. But within the cell, there will be a lot of anabolism and catabolism going within. So those are definitely not described, and PNHQ doesn't propose also those part analysis. Yeah.
Right. So then after that, when what gets disposed of as toxins is body's intelligence.
Body's vitality. Yeah.
Body's
vitality, and it's a programmatic aspect that whatever is not needed, those are thrown away.
Yeah.
And that is considered as a toxin for that individual.
Fine. Okay. Thanks.
So now what happens when this hydrostatic rejection needs vitality and we run out of the conserved vitality? That time what happens? The coming in is going on because the osmosis, obesity and all are because of these aspects, because osmosis never stops. That's why input never stops. The output stops. Now output stops means there will be over accumulation of the content within the cell, and that produces heat. Consider a lot of people in a single room, small room, people are coming in and in, there will be increase in the heat. And it's a natural beauty, what I'm going to explain now. Now, when there is an increase of heat, there is a decrease in the density. And when there is a decrease in the density, there will be movement, increase in the movement. So the elimination will be facilitated because of that increase of the heat within the cell. When the heat of the cell gets increased, the density of the matters gets reduced and the elimination is facilitated, so that the cell gets released of the toxin. So that the cells get released of the toxin. And now I'll bring a conventional term of this increase of the temperature is called the fever, is called the healing crisis. This is the term of Pure Nature Cure, healing crisis. So healing crisis is a state where the cellular temperature gets up to facilitate the elimination by reducing the density of the toxin. By reducing the density of the toxin, because increase of the temperature means decrease of the density. And that's how the elimination gets hiked, gets increased. We experience, all of us do experience fever, and during the fever, you see your breathing is very foully smell. Your urine is very dark, and your smell of the sweat is very foul smell. So that means all these through these three routes, we are actually, the body is throwing the toxin. But what happens? During that process, we undergo a lot of discomfort. And those discomforts are very obvious because toxins are discomforting element. That's why those are called toxins. So whenever those toxins, while expelling, while eliminating, comes in the contact of sense organs, it will create discomforts for sure, because those had been accumulated within, and within the body there was no sense organs. That's why you couldn't sense the discomfort. But when it comes in contact of the sense organs, we start identifying the discomforts and we end up suppressing those discomforts. That is called suppression. Let's read the definitions. Healing crisis. the natural initiative of the body expelling the excess toxin, raising the temperature and reducing the density of the toxin of the body. It comes with, now next portion is very important. It comes with clear voice of the organism. VO stands for voice of the organism. It comes with clear voice of the organism of resting, because resting means you will support the body with more conservation of energy so that that conserved energy can be used for this elimination work. So it comes with the clear voice of the organism of resting physically, physiologically, and psychologically, because you sense tiredness. Tiredness means it is a restriction of doing any physical work and psychological work both. So you need to go to the bed and rest so that you can conserve energy physically, and you need to stay relaxed so that you can conserve psychologically, and also you experience tastelessness, and that tastelessness indicates the body's voice of the organism is saying us not to eat, so that physiologically there could be a lot of conservation, and that conservation will help the body to have more conserved energy and do the elimination work complete. So this way, the voice of the organism of resting comes along with the healing crisis. But what happens? We end up suppressing this initiative, this beautiful initiative of the body to relieve us from the toxin is suppressed through lot of ways. Definitely, medication is one thing. Also, if we start working again during the fever, that also could be a suppression physically. If we start eating, denying the tastelessness, if we start eating through stimulated taste, many times we seek for masaledar khana, spicy foods during the fever, so that we can eat, but the indication is not to eat. So we defy that, we suppress. And psychological suppression is obviously a suppression. Now let's read the definition of suppression. Suppression is nothing but the restriction of natural response of restoration of the lost homeostasis. So the response which comes naturally, when it is suppressed, then we compromise the homeostasis without knowing it. And this restriction is called suppression. So we'll take up a few questions here. Then we'll go for the stages of disease. Over to you, the forum. Yes, Meghna, please.
Sir, there is a slide which you have mentioned in the notes about formation of toxemia.
Formation of toxemia.
And I am not able to relate what you have explained as toxemia formation here with that. So you can just relate both the slides and I can understand properly.
You're talking about the booklet?
The booklet. I just checked because I missed the first 20 minutes. And there is a slide on toxemia. Formation of toxemia, and here you're mentioning about toxemia, how it is formed. So I am not able to relate both of them.
Yes, let's relate. Let's inquire together. I'm just opening the
Sure.
yeah. So which chapter you are talking about?
The day one, sir.
Yeah,
day one.
Day one.
I think page number 7 or 8.
Page number 7 or 8. Formation of toxemia. Yes, this one.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what happens? We talked about the voice of the organism. Voice of the organism, the pleasure and pain, indications of pleasure and pain. When we keep on denying that. So for now, forget about this law of unity, because law of unity is a big topic which we'll touch upon tomorrow. So if you just focus on the voice of the organism, for now, forget about this law of unity term, because that will bring a lot of further discussion, which we'll definitely have tomorrow. But when we keep on denying the voice of the organism, if this is also done repeatedly, then we actually over engage our vitality. the innervation happens, because denying of the voice of the organism means that pleasure and pain. Were you there when we discuss about this voice of the organism, pleasure and pain?
Yes, yes, sir.
Right now, relate with it. When we deny this identification of pleasure and pain, when we stimulate pleasure or suppress pain, that is the denial of the voice of the organism. When we keep on doing that, that time what happens? We over-engage vitality, because stimulation means indulgence in pleasure more than the required, more than the naturally crafted. Right? So that means the over-engagement of vitality. Now, when we over-engage the vitality, the body runs out of the elimination that is needed to be done. Because for elimination, we need vitality, and we run out of the vitality. There is a reduction in the elimination.
Okay.
When we reduce the elimination, that means we reduce the elimination of toxin. We end up retaining toxin, and end up retaining toxin means toxemia.
Okay.
This is what is the formation of toxemia. Yeah.
Okay. Fine,
Right.
sir. Thank you.
Right. Right. Any other question? Anyone?
So
Yes.
when the fever doesn't come for a while,
Yes.
and like one thinks that there must be toxins inside, what's the reason?
The lack of conserved vitality. Because fever is an achievement. We do not get fever from outside. We do not catch fever. We raise fever. So raising fever means raising temperature. That need a lot of heat. Heat is a form of energy. So that energy, if we do not have, from where we'll get the fever? Right. So it's definitely an indication of a chronic stage where we need a strategic conservation. A lot of conservation, mindful, consistent conservation is needed, so that the body raises its temperature and get rid of the toxin. If there is no discomfort, that time, if we are not raising fever, that's a state of health. Nothing to worry.
Fine, thanks.
So Kalyan, I had another question on. So basically,
Yeah.
healing crisis, you are saying, is only raising fever, but often we see like people getting cold and cough when they are, into good diet somehow. They are not raising fever, but they are having cold and cough for a long time. So that's also
It's
an
a chronic,
elimination, right?
chronic,
It's the elimination.
elimination,
Yeah,
but it's a
so-
chronic state. If you are, if they are not able to raise fever, it's a chronic cold and cough.
Okay. Okay. So, and at some point, maybe when that chronic state continues, and if they are able to listen to voice of organism, it can then be able to raise temperature at
Yes.
some point.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yes. Yes, Kaushik.
Yeah, what I wanted to ask is the feeling of disgust or dislike equivalent to pain? So suppose, say there is a natural food which I don't like and is
Yeah.
considered to be healthy. And so in that case, should I have it or should I
No,
not have it?
you should not.
And
You should not have it. Unless you
Okay.
like it, you should not have it. You need to identify the natural framework, but you have to go with your voice of the organism according to the pure nature of your proposal. Yes. Complete your question.
Okay, so it is like in this case also, is the whole feeling of say, because disgust or dislike, is it also the additional energy or is it the organic energy?
Let's take this response after we come back.
Okay,
We have to end this session. So we'll start with your question and explore the things. Yeah.
okay, sure.